Today, we're going to be talking about reparenting, but specifically reparenting and magic, and why reparenting is such a powerful, magical, and spiritual practice that you can bring into your life for massive transformation. Hello, lovelies, and welcome to Squeaky's Cauldron. I'm your host, Sarah Evergreen. I'm a coach specializing in boundary work, inner child, and shadow work, as well as working with deities. Thank you so much for coming to my weird, witchy corner of the internet. This is part of a video series on reparenting and magic that I am creating in conjunction with building a course around magical reparenting utilizing the tarot. I'm very excited about this course, and I wanted to bring these videos to you so you can get a taste of what working through this course would be like, to see if it's something that could help you, and also just to give you some insight on this thing that has changed my life so dramatically, and I'm sure can change yours as well. A quick shout out to my beautiful patrons, Daniela Respress, Samantha Oki, Valerie Phil, Haisam Ismail, and Kim Trupiano. Thank you so much for your beautiful support. If you are interested in getting bi-monthly community tarot readings, extended episodes, and shout-outs on YouTube and on the podcast, go ahead and check the link in the description for my Patreon page. So to recap briefly, what is reparenting, at least from my point of view? For me, reparenting has two essential aspects to it. One is creating an internal parental archetype that you can call upon and work with whenever you're feeling kind of distressed or you need help in a particular situation. Anytime you feel like you're moving into the child place, when your inner child is triggered, when you are tempted to lash out, when you are tempted into self-destructive behaviors, you can call upon this parental archetype to offer you the guidance and compassion that maybe you didn't get when you were a kid. The other aspect of reparenting that I find to be incredibly important is rewiring your brain, rewiring those memories from childhood where you got those initial woundings that are now coming out in your life. All of these patterns that you find that aren't helping you, that are keeping you stuck, keeping you small, keeping you involved in relationships that don't really serve you, these can all be traced back to original woundings, to these times in our childhood when some situation gave rise to a particular story about how we are supposed to be and about how the world works. And if we can go back and reprogram, rather, when we go back and reprogram those stories and give that inner child what they needed, we can then break free from those patterns. Both of these things in conjunction, working with the past and working with the present, are what allows true transformation to come through. So why do I see this as a magical practice? At its core, magic is transformation. It is changing something from here to here. And when we can change our internal stories, when we can shift those, then we start to see shifts in the 3D world outside of us. When we heal these wounds, then the wounds stop acting on our lives in the present moment. We become alchemists of our own experience. We become alchemists of our past, our present, and our future by bringing these disparate things together, by taking the lead of that childhood experience and transforming it into gold, into power, into lessons, insight, all of these beautiful things that we can apply to our lives. And then when we've done that, even when we've started the process of reparenting, when we've started the process of changing that lead into gold, it removes all of that stuff that we don't need, the stuff that was hiding the gold, which allows for a lot more space, internally and externally. One of the big things that's come through for me around reparenting is boundaries. When we look at boundaries through a magical lens, the first thing that comes to my mind is the witch's circle. This is a pretty fundamental practice in witchcraft, in casting spells, in ritual in general, across all sorts of traditions. Casting a circle, creating a sacred space. You can see this even in Christianity and other more mainstream religions, is that you're creating a space that is distinct from the rest of the world, within which to practice magic, to worship, to come to God, essentially, to come to the universe, and to interact with that energy. When we know how to set boundaries, when we know and have a really good, strong boundary practice, we're casting that circle all the time in all of our relationships, and we're casting that circle within ourselves. This is what can come in the circle. This is what has to stay out. This is something that is life-giving. This is something that is taking life away from me. That's boundary work. And when we address the stories of our childhood that say, for example, I am not allowed to make decisions for my own body because we were told, oh, go kiss Uncle so-and-so, or, sit on their lap because you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Or, that particular story is so insidious, so deeply ingrained in so much of our culture that children are, on some level, not allowed to make the decisions about their own body. They're not allowed to listen to their intuition that says, I don't want to be around this person. I don't want to allow this person into my space. So we bring that story into our adulthood. And then we allow these relationships that kind of mirror that don't respect body autonomy. So when we can go back into that childhood place and reprogram your mind around that particular event that happened, the initial event that started that storyline. You become internally the parent that you needed then, and you're able to give yourself that autonomy and that understanding that your intuition is valid, your bodily autonomy is valid, and we respect that, and we're going to cultivate that. Then you can bring that into your present and be able to make those choices and set those boundaries with the people around you and with yourself. Because it does come back to yourself. Those boundaries are an internal thing, primarily. They're how am I going to choose to engage with the world around me. A boundary is not saying you can't yell at me. A boundary is saying, if you yell at me, I will remove myself from this conversation. If you speak like that, I will remove myself. If you continue to move closer to me, I will go elsewhere. That's a boundary, because it's about how you are choosing to behave and engage in a particular situation. So that's just one example of the connection between magic and reparenting, this creation of the sacred space. And when you're able to do that in your daily life, in all of your relationships and your relationship with yourself, you free up a lot of space for energy to move through. You free up a lot of space for messages to come through. You free up a lot of energy and time because you're no longer spending it on these people and situations and obligations that don't actually feed you. When we're investing in any situation or relationship that doesn't feed us, that doesn't go with the flow of our needs and our energy, then it's actively taking away from our energy resources, which gives us less to invest in magic, as well as, any other area of your life. I'll be going much deeper around this concept in the course. I'll be exploring different particular magical practices that can both support and engage with reparenting, as well as focusing on, utilizing archetypes from the tarot in order to find different new parental archetypes within yourself and cultivate those things so that you have these different energies to call upon in specific areas of your life. For example, with the Wands cards, I'll be working with the King and the Queen of Wands. These will be parental archetypes that you can call on when you need inspiration for an artistic project, something creative, when you need to tap into a safe form of passion and energy and power. If you're interested in going deeper with this and you'd like to work with me one-on-one, you can check out my coaching offers in the link below. Obviously, you can wait for the course to come out, which I believe will be sometime next month. We'll see about that. I'll keep you all updated. And if you missed the first video, just go ahead and check it out here. Until next time, my lovelies, thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves, and as always, use your voice.